30 Minutes with Ron.
What was the longest home run that Mickey ever hit?
The longest home run, they claim that they measured it 565 feet. Billy was on third base that day. I don't know if you all know this or not, but I used to have a bad habit of when I hit a home run, I'd run around the bases with my head down. You know, I didn't stand at home plate and wait till it went over the roof or something, like they do now. They're like Reggie. I used to have a real bad habit of ducking my head and running because I felt, you know, I didn't want to show the pitcher up. I got to third base, and Frank Crosetti was the third base coach, and he's hollering, "Look out, look out." I looked up. Billy was tagged up at third. He thought it was a long fly ball. It was in the old Griffith Stadium, and they measured it at 565 feet.
I hit one the same day. And the papers the next day said, Mantle hits 562 foot, or 5 home run. My ball went 430 feet and said, P.S. Martin also homers.
The only thing is that Billy's home run won the game. And nobody knew that.
Got a question for Whitey back here?
All right, goes for Mantle.
Mantle came the closest, to my recollection, correct, also to coming the closest to hitting a ball out of Yankee Stadium. I was just wondering how it felt when he achieved that in the upper facade of inside of Yankee Stadium.
Want to know what Mickey's feeling was when he almost hit the ball out of Yankee Stadium and hit the upper facade.
It was that was a harder hit ball probably than the one that I hit in Washington we was just talking about. The ball that I hit in Yankee Stadium, they said would have probably traveled about 600 feet or something like that. It hit the facade about a foot from going out. I would like to say one thing. You're talking about the lively ball. I saw Whitey hit a home run one time, and that year I think probably was the liveliest ball I ever saw. This man can't hit a ball from here to that wall over there, and he hit a home run.
According to the records, he hit 177 base hits in his major league career.
Mickey, I hit 3 home runs, and Hank Aaron and I both hit our first home run off the same pitcher.
Yeah!
And nobody in this room knows who that pitcher was. It was Vic Grashy. And between Hank and I, we hit 758 home runs.
I got to tell y'all something. Whitey is good on baseball trivia. He figures out stuff like that, like him and Hank get to. One time he figured out, do you know who played in the major leagues? He's in the Hall of Fame, and he played 7 years without hitting the ball. He's not a manager, he's not a pitcher, and he's not an umpire. He's a real player, and he played 7 years in the major leagues without hitting the ball, and he's in the Hall of Fame. Do y'all know who it is? Kilbrough. No, it's me. Whitey figured out one. I struck out 1,710 times, right? And I walked 1,800 times. And you figure a Major League Baseball player goes to bat 500 times a year on the average. So if you take 500 into 3,500, that's strikeouts and walks. I played 7 years without hitting the ball.
Question that somebody had for Whitey. Whitey, who are the toughest hitters for you?
Whoa! Was that your question?
Walt, I know your brothers are here, so I'm going to say Walt Dropo was the toughest hitter I ever. But Walt, can I tell a story of the last day in a season in 1950 in Fenway Park? You and Vern Stevens were tied for the RBI lead, and it's the 9th inning, and I'm pitching, and there's a man on second, and Vern Stevens hits a single. If that run scores, Vern Stevens leads the American League in RBIs. But Billy ran over second, knocked it down, and he couldn't score. And Walt Dropo's eyes lit up. Now all he's got to do is hit a fly ball, anything, and he leads the league. Paul Wallace struck out. It was a tie. That's a good memory, Waller, 37 years ago. And that was his rookie year. Waller was the Rookie of the Year in 1950. And he was a great ball player. And another thing, Waller, your brothers are here. I know they know all your records. But you also got 12 hits in a row, which I guess is still a record.
That's right.
Question for some of the little leaguers that are here today. John Ellis's son is here. My son is here. His brother, people have their children here. What do you feel about Little League Baseball, and what can they do to prepare themselves for a possible career?
I'd like to answer that if I may.
After you answer.
Question was, what are the feelings that these gentlemen have about Little League itself, number one, and number two, for some of the youngsters here, some of the things that they might be doing to prepare themselves for their baseball careers?
Well, first I'll talk to the children out there who want to be professional baseball players or whatever it may be. You can accomplish anything you want if you work hard and tell the truth and look in the mirror and don't lie to yourself. And ask your mom and dad questions because they've gone through the same thing you're going through right now. And you mom and dads and you Little League coaches, remember one thing, they're little kids. Let them stay little kids as long as possible. Quit talking about their batting averages and their pitching records. Their own peer will make them competitors. They need your love, not your advice.
Got a young man right there. I got a young man with his hand up.
Billy, what are you going to do with Jack Clark this year?
Question was, what's he going to do with Jack Clark?
As big as he is, very, very careful what I'm going to do. Now, he's going to be the DH, and probably will want to play like all players are. They don't like to be the DH. It's a tough role because you got to come off the bench cold, but he'll be our DH against right-hand and left-handed pitching.
We've got a Little League father has a question. Mr. Ellis?
My son and I and Jane were up at Boston last week, and John McNamara said that he was going to kick Billy's butt next year. And I'd like to know Billy's comment about the Red Sox.
Well, I think the Red Sox really helped themselves, John, with the acquisition of Smith from the Cubs. But I don't think that the relief pitcher is any better than Righetti in the bullpen when you're down 6 runs going in 9th inning.
I have your attention for 1 minute, please. Dr. Kurland. There's a Dr. Kurland here. Please go to the front desk. There's a call there for Dr. Kurland. Right over here.
Billy said,
David?
Yeah, Billy said at the private cocktail party that he thought Casey Stengel was the best manager of all time. I wonder if all three gentlemen might share their favorite Casey Stengel story.
Question, during the earlier part of the evening, Billy Martin made the statement that in his opinion, Casey Stengel was the greatest manager of all time. And the question now is, would each of them relate a personal favorite story of some relationship that they had with Casey?
Well, it's not a relationship. We all love Casey, and he loved us. He'd have a meeting in the dressing room, and he would chew us out so bad, the three of us, and that was to impress the older players on the team that we weren't getting away with anything. But we knew he really liked us. But my favorite Casey story, it's not only Casey, it's a little bit of Yogi. But in 1959, I was pitching in the Yankee Stadium, and they played the national anthem, and I took my Fox. And Nellie, the first pitch I threw, hit a double over third base. Louis Aparicio got up, and the second pitch I threw, he bunted down third, and I'd thrown 2 pitches. It's first and third. Manny Minoso was the next hitter, and I threw him a hell of a curveball, but it hit him in the kneecap. So I've thrown 3 pitches, and the bases are loaded. And Ted Kluszewski, not many people remember, but Ted Kluszewski played with the White Sox in '59. First pitch I throw to him, a high fastball off the right center field wall. 3-run score, a man on second. I've thrown 4 pitches, and we're behind 3-0. Casey comes out to the mound, and Yogi doesn't want to miss anything, so he gets out there. And Casey says to Yogi, does Ford have anything tonight? And Yogi says, how the hell do I know, Casey? I haven't caught a pitch yet.
Yeah, mine was a little different. When Mickey used to strike out, or I'd strike out, I'd go down the runway with a bat and take it against a brick wall down below and just break it to pieces. Mickey'd go over and kick the old water cooler. He'd go up in the air, and the old man would get mad because he's afraid we're going to hurt each other. You know, the thing is breaking, glass is going to go over Mickey, and the splinter go in my eye. And he used to get really mad at me. And so one day, I'd playing second base, the old man bleeding defense, and I made 2 errors out there. I only made about 8 that year, and so he benches me the next day. And, you know, I don't tell you, you just look at the lineup card and you're not in the lineup. So I take my glove. I always sat next to him because I wanted to hear him talk. And I take my glove and I go clear down to the end of the bench. Now, you can yell at Casey and he'd yell back at you, but the next day was forgiven. You know, you can carry a doghouse around with him. So they're all waiting for the Dutchman to come down and talk to the big nose. I'm going to find out what's going on between the 2 of us. And they're waiting for me to yell at him. And here comes Casey in the 7th inning. Going to put me out of second base, and I'm ready to yell at him, boy, and I know he's going to say something smart aleck. And he comes down, and here's what came out of his mouth. And I used to, you know, I was pouting actually. He says, "Is Widow Billy mad at me?" "Would you take your widow brother and go out to second?" Needless to say, I just ran out and didn't say a word, but I was really primed to call him a Dutch son of a gun and everything, but I didn't say a word. That's my favorite Casey.
Back, all the way over there.
Which young players playing today remind you all of yourselves when you were young?
Joe Pepitone.
The question is, what young players today remind them most of themselves? You're talking about as ball players or hours.
We would all like to think was like Don Mattingly, to tell you the truth. He wasn't. Don Mattingly's got the best work habits of anybody. He'll be out there at 4 o'clock. You know, he hits .330 every year and everything. But he's out there at 4 o'clock, shagging balls, taking batting practice, hitting the ball off the tee. He takes 100 ground balls a day, you know. I mean, we'd all like to think was like that. But as far as one that I would... I don't know anybody I'd like to be like. I'd like to be like Don Mattingly, but I wouldn't.
No, that proves that era is over. Dick?
Whitey, you were known probably as the best money pitcher in the history of baseball. What was your biggest thrill? The biggest thrill you ever had in
Pitching?
career? Pitching, yes, pitching.
I can't believe I said that.
Tommy, my son's sitting in the back. Don't tell Mom any of what you heard tonight.
Can I
know what the biggest...
Can I tell a story? When I went up to Whitey Ford earlier, in the earlier part of the evening, I hope I don't offend his son. I said, you know, I read all 3 of your books, and Whitey turned to me and he said, wait till our wives die.
I said Billy ain't sure ain't going to outlive his wife.
She is the most gorgeous. Jill is one of the prettiest young ladies I've ever met. I mean, and she's a super lady. She's going to straighten Billy out, I hope. And she was going to be here tonight, but she had a Girl Scout meeting to go to. The biggest thrill I had in baseball, it was betting on a game, and it's a you're not supposed to gamble in baseball. But one of the biggest thrills I had, 1961 All-Star game. Mickey and I left Chicago to go to the All-Star game in San Francisco, and I called Horace Stoneham, the owner of the team, and I said, Mickey and I are going to be there tonight, late, but we'd like to play golf tomorrow. He says, no problem, my son Peter Stoneham will pick you up at the hotel, you go to the Olympic clubs and play. Well, Mickey and I went out there, we played, and we signed for a pack of sweaters, shoes, everything. We spent about $400 a piece. That night, Toots Shore had a cocktail. Toots Shore, for the younger people, was a great restaurateur, almost as good as he's like Mickey's, No way. Okay. Well, anyhow, Toots had a cocktail party that night. Mickey and I came to it, and I went over to Horace and I said, "Here's $400 for Mickey and I what we spent today." And Horace said, "I'll tell you what, Whitey, if you get in the All-Star game tomorrow and you get Willie Mays out, we'll call it even. If not, you give me $800. I says, "You got to bet." I go over and tell Mickey, he says, "No way." Because Willie Mays was 9 for 12 off of me lifetime. And this is the most nervous I've ever been in baseball. Now, I don't know I'm going to pitch the next day. He and I wake up. We really didn't wake up. We got our paper in the morning, and it said, Warren Spahn Ford to start All-Star game. I get the first two guys out. Roberto Clemente hits a double off the right center field wall, and up comes Willie, and all I'm thinking about is $800. And my center field, all he's thinking about is $800. So I get 2 quick strikes on Willie. He hit, well, 2 quick strikes. He hit 2 foul balls down the left field line about 500 feet. So I got him 0-2, and I said, it's not really a league game, it's like an exhibition game. I'm going to throw him a spitball. And I did, and it started right at his shoulder. He jumped, he fell down actually, he dropped down over the plate, strike 3, 3rd out of the inning. 50 million people on television don't know why our center field is running in clapping. Still laying on the ground, and I got to walk by to go to the dugout, and Willie said, "What's that crazy son of a bitch?" I said, "Willie, it's a long story, I'll tell you the
Question was whether or not Billy's record still exists, which was 12 hits in a 6-game World Series.
Like Mickey was talking about earlier, the older you get, the more you appreciate it, and I'm sure Walt feels the same way. The record you made then, at the time, the record wasn't important. Winning against the Dodgers that year, to me, was more important than anything else. I got cheated out of 1 hit, by the way.
Right.
That makes me mad.
He should have had 13.
Lady right here.
First of all, I want to say I love you, Billy. I loved you forever and ever and ever since I started watching the Yankees.
You're married now.
My own. My question is, can you motivate Ricky Henderson to play at least 150 games?
We're at 130.
I think last year you read in the newspaper about Ricky Henderson having problems with Lou Piniella. That's not true. Ricky Henderson was hurt last year. This year you'll see Ricky Henderson playing left field, and you'll see one of the greatest ball players in the game today playing this year. And when he turns a team on, he can really do the job. And I'm telling you, he's outstanding. And you're going to see a lot of Ricky Henderson this year. I'm proud of the young man. I like him a lot.
Okay, last question over here.
What do you guys think of the salaries nowadays compared to the salaries back in the day?
The question is, and I'm sure you all know the answer, what do you think of the salaries today as compared to the salaries when you came up?
Well, Mickey really should answer this. I'm going to collect my pension this year, in October. And I was 20 years in the major leagues, and I'm going to be 60 in October. And yeah, I'm almost as old as you, Billy. Billy's 6 months older than me. And the little kid's 3 years younger than us. But I call the
I could still be planning one for these two.
Anyhow, getting back to salaries, I called the girl that takes care of the pension. I said, Angie, how much am I going to get? She told me how much, and I said, how come I'm not going to get Angie Roan? I says, how much come I'm not going to get as much? She said, you didn't make enough salary with the Yankees. I said, well, the last 6 years I played with the Yankees, I made $76,000. That was the highest salary any Yankee pitcher ever made. She said, you don't make enough money to be eligible for a highest pension.
Mattingly just signed for $2 million. That's more than I made it. I played in more games. A lot of people don't know this, but I played in more games as a Yankee than anybody, by about 300 or 400 games. Mattingly is going to make more money this year than I made in 18 years. Right. But I don't feel
I'm sorry, for I made $7,500 a year while he's making $100,000.
There you go, Billy.
You know what? I'm going to tell you this, all right? He was lucky to make $75.
Folks, we've had a great time tonight, and all of us have a favorite story we like to tell. I'm not a good joke teller, but true stories I can tell. And I want to just tell a story, and maybe Mickey and Billy might want to tell one later, but we haven't said anything about Yogi Berra yet tonight, really. And, you hear crazy stories. You know, Joe Garagiola makes up all these crazy stories. But this is a true story. The same 1961 season that I spoke about before, I pitched opening day in Detroit, and it was cold, but we just go back a month or so. In spring training, I had made up a concoction. I had small hands, and I couldn't get a grip on the ball in cold weather. So I made this concoction up of, listen to this, baby oil, turpentine, and rosin. And I kept mixing it, and I got this stuff, it was like Elmer's glue before I got through with it. And I said, now how am I going to get this on my fingers and the glove during the game? So I was in the drugstore and I got this band roll-on, you know, the men use underarm deodorant. So I took the ball out and I poured all that stuff out and I put my sticky stuff in there and it worked perfect. I'd rub it on my fingers, on the glove, and I said, this is great. So I put it away, and the only one on the club that knew it was Mickey because, you know, we were rooming together. So that opening day, now it's opening day, I'm pitching against Frank Larry in Detroit, and it's actually snowing, but it wasn't sticking. It was like 35 degrees, really cold. I said, perfect, I'm going to try that, my sticky stuff. I go out, and every inning I put it on my fingers, my glove. We win 5-1. Most amazing, I pitched 9 innings without using Louis Arroyo once. Mickey hit a home run. Yogi didn't do nothing. He went 0 for 4, just caught the game. You got to picture our locker in Detroit. This is in Detroit. Is Yogi's here, I'm in the center, and Mickey's here. I don't know it, but Mickey takes the band roll-on out of my jacket, and he puts it up in my locker and pushes it way to the right. And in those days, we had about 7 writers from New York and 4 or 5 from Detroit. They're all around our dressing room, around our locker, talking to Mickey about his home run, me pitching the 9 innings, and I don't know it, but Yogi, he hadn't done nothing, like I said, 0 for 4. He went in the shower, he comes back, dries himself, puts all his clothes on except his shirt. And Yogi was very cheap and wouldn't buy, you know, toothpaste or aftershave. And he looks up in my locker and sees the underarm deodorant. This is a true story. And he grabs it, and I'm still talking to the writers, and he's rolling on the floor laughing. Yogi's giving it this under the arm. And now he puts his arms down, and Yogi's very hairy. He cannot get his arms down. He had to take all his clothes off, back in the shower. Katrina, Joe Stories, had to get Gus Mouth had to get the scissors and cut the hair. And to me, that was the funniest Yogi Berra
story. Mickey wants me to tell the story about Whitey and I and Mickey. We missed a train one day in Cincinnati, so we figured we're real smart. We're going to go to the airport, we'll catch a plane, and we'll beat the train there. And we get to the airport, and to Pittsburgh, and it's spring training, and all the planes are fogged in. We can't get a plane out of there. So we decided. Mickey calls a cab over, says, "Hey buddy, you want to give us a ride?" He says, "How far are you going?" Mickey says, "Pittsburgh." The guy says, "You're kidding." Mickey said, no, we ain't kidding. We got to get there before the team takes batting practice. So we took a cab from Cincinnati to Pittsburgh. Got there when batting practice was all over. Now you got to know the old man, Casey. He's a tough Dutchman. I loved him. So I'm talking to Mickey, and Mickey said, well, I bet he's mad. I said, I bet he really is mad. Why in the meantime is already out there running, doing his running and everything with Jim Turner. And I'm sitting, I'm watching Casey walking. And I see Mickey's talking to me now. He still thinks he's talking to me. And I said, the old man's going to be mad. And here comes Casey, and I see him. Mickey's talking to me. I just get up, and I go in the men's room, and I stand on top of the toilet seat so he couldn't see my legs underneath. So I'm hiding in the men's room, and Mickey's still talking to me like this. All of a sudden, Casey goes, hey! He grabbed me behind his neck, and then whack, he slapped him. He says, where's that Dago at? Mickey said, it's right there. He was right here a little while ago. Casey said, I want to tell you guys something right now. Both of you, this is like the worst punishment in the world. Both of you are going to play 9 innings of spring training every game we play. I said, okay. We go out there. He comes up his first time at bat in the old Pittsburgh ballpark. He hits a home run over the whole triple deck, the longest ball ever hit there. Mickey gets a standing ovation. Casey's clapping for at the end of the bench. He sends him in the clubhouse. I played 9 innings.
A lot of people have heard this. For the ones that haven't, I think it's funny. Billy, everybody always says, what makes Billy such a great manager? And I think what it is that everybody, all the ball players know that if Billy says go up to the top of this building and jump off, they know that he'll jump off with them. You know what I mean? So he comes down to Dallas, Texas in 1974, John. And he takes over a team that was the worst team I ever saw. We could get up a team in here that could have beat them. I live in Dallas, and I know this is the worst goddamn team I ever saw. But he takes them over, and they almost win the pennant the next year. So somebody gave Billy a rifle, and he said, I want to go deer hunting. And I said, okay, I'll take you deer hunting. So I go over, I said, I tell you what you got to do, you got to get up about 4 o'clock because we got to drive like 6 hours down to past San Antonio, down the hill country to go deer hunting. I know this here doctor lives across the street from me, has a ranch down there, and I'll take you down there and go deer hunting. He said, okay, I want to go. We drive 6 hours. We finally get down there, and I said, now wait in the car, and I'll go up and see if we can go deer hunting. So I knock on the door, the guy goes, hey, Mick, how you doing? I say, hey, Doc, listen, I got Billy Martin, the new manager of the Rangers, out here in the car. He wants to go deer hunting. Do you care if we go? He says, no, that's fine, anytime, come on down, you know. So I start to walk, and he said, wait a minute, do me a favor. I said, what's that? He said, you got to leave the car there and walk through the barnyard. I said, you see an old mule standing over by the barn? I said, yeah. He said, will you do me a favor? And I said, what's that? And he said, shoot that mule for me when y'all go by there. And I said, God damn, we don't want to shoot the mule. He said, no, if you would shoot the mule, it'd be do me a big favor. And I said, okay. So now I'm walking back out to the car, and I think, I'm going to play a joke on Billy. So I went out to the car, and I yanked the door open, and I said, give me my rifle. Billy goes, what's wrong? I said, we drove 6 hours to get down here. I said, this guy said we can't go deer hunting. I'm going to shoot his mule. Billy's going, no. I finally get my rifle away from him. I pull the rifle away from him. I run out there to the barn. I run right up to the mule and go, bam! Shoot the mule right in the neck, right? All of a sudden, right behind me, I hear bam, bam, bam. I turn around, there's Billy with his rifle. I said, Billy, what are you doing? He said, I got 3 of these cows.